You're listening to the HVAC Company Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode. My name is Matt Law. I'm the CEO of Grow Inc. Super glad that you're here today. I just want to start off by reminding you that this is a training series, and although this is a bonus episode, you may want to go back to the beginning and listen to this podcast in order. It builds upon itself, and we go through a very detailed training program of all of the marketing techniques that we see working in service businesses. Again, my name is Matt Law. I'm the CEO of a company. Our company is called Grow Inc. We help service businesses grow. We work exclusively with service businesses like yours. And so what I realized many years ago is that there's a lot of noise in marketing. And if you measure marketing, you can figure out what works and what doesn't. And we do that for all of our clients. And we're able to put together marketing packages that are measurable, and we can see companies grow. In this bonus episode, I want to share with you what I see happening and changing in 2025 and kind of do a quick recap on 2024. And so a little bit about myself here. I want to recap this. Been owner of a service business since 2001, started in Google Ads 2002, SEO 2003 and 4. Of course, obviously trying to grow my service business. And then 2007, I started a marketing agency. And so I've run the marketing agencies since 2007. Grow Inc. is a specialty service business our specialty marketing company where we work only with service-based businesses. And so because we measure marketing, as I was sharing, we have a good idea of what works. I'm going to tell you what I see changing what I saw changing in 2024 and what I foresee coming in 2025. So in 2024, probably talk to maybe 25 different prospects from service businesses. They heard about us through being referred to us. Sometimes they listened to the podcast or they read our book, found us organically, and we make our prospects kind of go through a little bit of qualification. And it's because we're a little backed up, I suppose, or we just the way our model works. They fill out an application and then we have a talk. So we don't have a sales team or anything like that, but people will fill out an application and I can kind of learn more about their business. And then during our call, which is about an hour, we will find out more about their business and to see if they would be a good fit to work with us. And a lot of times they're not, and we help them still and just push them in the right direction of what they need to do. Sometimes they're too big. Sometimes they are just not in a good spot to grow. They already have market share. Sometimes they've got a service business in the middle of nowhere, town of 500 people, and we really can't help them grow too much more than they already are. But over those 25 calls that I had this year, I want to tell you some of the trends that I have seen. Now, keep in mind, these are prospects, not our clients. But out of those 25 calls, I would bet that the majority are down by at least 10% in 2024. So they had a year of decline in 2024. And it wasn't that they changed anything of their marketing. They didn't add, they didn't take away. They're just down. And it's because of several reasons, and we'll dig into that. But I will tell you, some clients were down some prospects were down even more, some 20 or 30% year over year. And so I will also tell you that we had some clients that had way more exposure in 2024 coming into 2024 than they had in 2023. And I thought, boy, they are going to have a record year. And actually, both of them did have record years, but they did not grow by as much as I had expected, even with the higher exposure. Now, these are clients that have added marketing and they had more exposure. They did grow, but not as much. And so I have to say, why? And the reason why the clients didn't grow is even with more exposure, the search volume or the number of people needing their service was down. The other prospects that I talked to, I said, hey, are you doing anything different? No, they're still down by that 10, 20, 30%. And the reason is because a few different factors. And it's going to depend on where you're at and where your service business is located. But a lot of places, the housing market is very flat. And when the housing market is flat, there's not a lot of purchase actions happening. There's not as much service business going along with it. So if someone's buying a new house, they're getting a lot done, fixes, changes, HVAC, add in a pool. There's a lot of these things. When people are not, changing hands, when real estate isn't changing hands and that money is not changing hands, it also slows things down for service businesses. The other things that people talk about, and I don't know if these are true or not, I'm just telling you, the people I talked to this year are telling me they're down a little bit. And I'm also sharing that some of our clients, a couple of clients that I thought would grow more than they did, than based on previous data, they didn't grow by as much. So the other things people are talking about is the elections, inflation, soft landing, uncertainty in the economy, really high stock market, declines up and down, all of this. So prospects without additional marketing, they have been flat or in a decline. Those are the ones I've talked to. Our clients that had new exposure grew, but not by as much as I thought they would because of the search volume, and I can see that in analytics. Now, we did see our new clients have significant growth, which is encouraging because basically we took really bad marketing, added all of the best practices, and they grew significantly, 30 to 40%. We have another client that's up over 100%. So if things are flat and you're not doing marketing, and I imagine that 2021, 2022, 23, you probably had some great years. And then 2024, if you're listening to this, probably down a little bit. And what do I foresee in 2025 and what should you do about it? Well, 2025, if you're listening to this, my guess is that you're listening to this because you're wanting to learn more about marketing and you're like, hey, what can I do? Sales are down or they're flat. And so in 2025, unfortunately, I expect a lot more of the same. I don't see a big change in the housing economy. I think everything is going to probably be similar. And I imagine that most companies are going to be down by 10, 20% from 2021 boom, 2022 boom, if they don't do anything new in marketing. I'm not a gloom and doom marketer. I hope the economy holds because it's our livelihood just as much it is yours. But I also think it's pretty crazy that business owners haven't marketed for years. Service business owners haven't marketed for years, haven't done anything, and they expect their revenues to grow without any marketing, without any SEO or pay-per-click or Google ads or anything. And so I think it's like Albert Einstein said, it's insanity to expect different results and do the same thing. So let me share with you what I saw happen in 2024. And then I want to talk about a little bit about what I expect to see in 2025. And there's a few areas of marketing that I saw changes in. And I want to kind of talk about these and just kind of expound on them. In most clients, when they come to us, we're going to come up with a marketing strategy, and I'll share with you just a little bit about this so it kind of makes sense. So we do our application, our initial call, qualification, and then we do a 2-hour deep dive. It's called an investigation meeting where we look at all of their data. We look at their competitor data. We look at all their marketing, and there's a ton of questions that go into this. And then we kind of come up with a marketing plan, and then it's finalized and turns into a contract. There's some other steps that go with this. But what is interesting, or what I find super interesting, is when we build out these marketing campaigns and we create these marketing campaigns, there are certain things in here that are just like, hey, put your money here. This is a great way to invest. And a lot of, A lot of companies move forward with us, but even if they don't, we still give them their marketing strategy, right? It's what we would do if it were our business. If it was our service business, we suggest to them what would be best. And it's going to be things like SEO. If they're not doing LSA ads, we'll say, hey, you're not doing LSA ads. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, and eventually that may become a strategy that we implement, but it's the marketing best practices. And you have to understand, been doing marketing since 2001 on my own business and had an agency for almost 20 years. And so I got a lot of gray hair, and I kind of grew up in my 20s on the internet, learning marketing, learning Google ads and helping businesses grow. And so because we measure marketing, we can see what works, and we have seen clients grow by, 100% this year. We've seen clients grow by 300 and 400% over 3 or 4 years. And so the models of what we're saying, it does work. I'm not saying it's overnight success and fast, but it's stuff that will help companies grow. Now, with that said, in 2024, companies that implemented these same things, they didn't grow as much as I thought they would. And it's because of several different factors. And I want to talk about that. I also want to realize is that in 2007, 2008, when I opened my very first marketing agency, I was surprised at how busy I was. And it was in the middle of that great financial crisis, the recession, the mortgages, the housing, the foreclosures. Well, why was I so busy? And so you need to realize that if there is any slowdown in your business, then there's a slowdown likely in your competitors. If there is any slowdown in the economy in your area, downturn, whatever, your competitors are also feeling that same, pinch. And so what happens is, and why I was so busy in 2008, 9, and 10 as a new marketing agency is because of that downturn. People were looking to invest in marketing. And I want to say that I do foresee in 2025, more people will try to invest in marketing. More of your competitors likely will do the same. And it's going to make it that much more competitive. And so I want to kind of go through these things that I see changing and what you should do about them. So the first thing I will say is that local search ranking in those maps pack, the 3-pack in Google for, when they look for someone near me or company near me, that is fierce and it's going to get fiercer. Now, the good news is it's hard to rank there. And so you have to get citations. You have to have lots of reviews. Social media plays into it. Even your ads and driving traffic to that, your click-through rate, how your Google business profile is set up. There's so much that goes into that local pack. And it's good that it's hard. And it's because if it wasn't hard, then competitors could just get up there really, really easy. So there's a lot that goes into that. And all of this is hard to get done, but as you do it, it will improve rankings. And so what I see is companies who optimize for local are rewarded in a big way. Unfortunately, it's not an overnight instant thing, and it never has been. But what I will say is that as you go out and get citations, your name, address, and phone number, you build reviews as part of your campaign. And when you close out a file, you close out a customer, you send a request for a review, you share on social media, you work on the click-through rate, you work on Google Business Profile, you update all of that, you make sure everything is updated and accurate. What I am seeing is that those clients are seeing big jumps in rankings. And it's funny is you can invest, a couple $1,000s into that one aspect of marketing. But if you go from the 4 spot to the number 1 spot in the Google Map Pack, or even to the 2 spot, or from 4 to 3 even, where you show up, there is a huge reward. And so I do see this year it is harder than ever, but I also think it's a good thing because most small businesses won't be able to do that on their own. They don't even understand. So if you were to really learn local search well and you focused on that and you go in there and you get a bright local account, there's a great opportunity for you to see growth. And so I do see a great opportunity. I had some people ask about, hey, what about ChatGPT? Well, how am I going to get found in ChatGPT? Here's what we will tell you is that if you do good local search optimization for the Maps pack and ranking locally, you're going to show up on ChatGPT. We searched for all of our clients on ChatGPT and we found them in the top 3. Those were the ones that allowed us to do local marketing. Number 2 is that I will tell you is that Google Ads got more expensive in 2024. It's going to get even more expensive in 2025. Google does not care about you. They don't care about me. What they care about is their shareholders. And I set up Google Ad accounts in 2002. Clicks used to be 50 cents. Now they could be $50 a click. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. If you haven't spent money on Google Ads before, or if you have a Google Ads account now, it's going to be more expensive. And this is also a good thing because it's going to weed out your competitors. Google's now doing a $3,000 ad credit if you spend $3,000. And so that's a good way to help get your account set up and get it optimized. It's important to note that a lot of people, if you're listening to this, you probably may not spend on Google Ads. A lot of new clients don't. But what's interesting is when you start out with a new account, it's not going to convert well. I mean, I see this over and over again. But as it's optimized, the cost per click and the cost per conversion or lead or call improves. And so you get that $3,000 ad credit and you learn by adding all of the negative keywords. So most advertisers don't manage their negative keywords. Most of them don't track clicks and block spammers. They are not doing things by the best practice. They're not adding their competitors to the negative keyword list. And they're also, not giving it time to optimize and making those ongoing changes. So here's what I'll tell you is so I've got clients all over on this. We have clients that have, say, a 5-month-old campaign. The first 3 months, man, tight. It was tough. We were getting leads, just not at a great cost per lead. Over the last couple of months, it's really, really gone down. And as Google learns the changes and you continue to make those optimization changes and tweaks and optimize what works and weed out the bad, Google will learn your algorithm. And so I would encourage you to stick with Google Ads and make it a big part of next year. Your competitors are going to do it wrong, and then they're going to end up paying more. What do I foresee in 2025 with local service ads? So if you're not doing traditional Google ads, you may be doing local service ads. And by the way, Google is pushing these big in 2024. They made a change where it wasn't this little green badge, and now it's like a big ad right at the top. So your competitors are going to do this more in 2025 for sure. But here's some of the things that I see changed in 2024 and what to be aware of in 2025. If you're running Google local service ads, if you answer your phone, you're going to get rewarded. If you don't answer the phone or don't respond to the messages or don't move people down through their CRM, you are going to be penalized. So the cost per lead is going to go way up for everybody because there's just so many more service businesses that are using this feature. It's driving up the cost. But I will tell you, if you optimize your account and you go in and you answer the phone and you move people through the pipeline and you respond to the messages and you rate your leads and do all of that, your cost will be less. But more than anything, you are going to get more leads and they will not give them to the other competitors. So if you're listening to this, I just want to encourage you, manage your local service ad account with very, very vigilant. Be very vigilant with it and be very disciplined with it. Most companies that are going to add these in 2025 are going to be way behind understanding how it works and what Google's looking at. And so it gives you a great head start. So if you're listening so far, I'm going to tell you, local is going to be more competitive. I see it already. Google Ads is more expensive, especially for new accounts. And I think that's why a lot of them are falling off. They're pushing these local service ads, and a lot of times I see them set up wrong. This year we had a company saying, hey, they're not working. I said, let us work on it. They hadn't got a local service call or lead in years, like over a year. And we made the changes. We updated everything. And now it's working great for them because they know they have to manage it. So it does take some time and work, but boy, it's a great. I will tell you another thing that's changing in 2024 and into 2025. Organic SEO is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be harder due to AI copy. So what we've seen is Google is mixing up rankings and indexing less pages per website. And so they're not just saying, yeah, we'll index this whole website. So you can't just dump a bunch of garbage content by some AI writer on your old junky website and say, hey, it's done by AI, it's out there, it's not going to work. Remember, Google uses the Chrome browser, and they can see how people respond to a website. They can see where they're clicking. When they crawl a website, they can see what's on the website. They can see how fast it is, all of that. And if people visit your website and then bounce off, which is called a bounce in Google Analytics, then, hey, they're saying this is a low quality website. So just creating a bunch of content isn't going to help you rank in organic SEO. So we're talking about the spots in Google. We've got the Maps the Maps pack, which is like A, B, and C. Those are some local listings. You're going to have some ads. You may have some LSA ads or Google ads, but then you're going to have the organic or the free spots below. And it is a big part of winning the overall search campaign. But what I did see in 2024 is that link building has to be done really slower, less links, higher quality links. And I definitely see that moving forward in 2025. I saw some ads on social media a while back, and they're like, hey, get 2,500 links to your website. Let me just tell you, if anybody knows anything about SEO or they've been doing this long enough, in 2010, 11, 12, there were huge penalties if you built too many links to your website, and your site would be crashed, down to the bottom. And so you're going to have to build links in 2025. You're going to have to do on-site SEO. But the good news is most companies are going to try to shortcut this. They're going to put out garbage content. They're not going to get a new website. They're going to hire an SEO company. And this is what SEO companies do. Like, more than likely, if you're hosting on WordPress or some garbage website, you're going to need a new website, number one. But you're going to hire an SEO company. And what they're going to do is say, yeah, we're doing SEO. And they're going to change a couple meta tags and build a couple links. And a lot of them won't even do that. And they say, yeah, we're doing this, but there's no data, there's no reports, there's no link building. What ends up happening is your site will not rank because it takes a healthy website built for SEO with the right meta tags, with the right descriptions, the right H1, all of that. And then you've got to build links. If you don't do all of those things together, you're not going to rank. And what I've kind of shared with you, all of these four strategies that I see changing, the local search, the Google ads, which are the regular ads, and then the local service ads, which are for service businesses, and organic, these are all about people searching for a solution that your company offers and them finding you versus them scrolling on Meta, Instagram, or Facebook and seeing an ad. Now, those work, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But what's important is when people are searching for something and they find you first, and you have good reviews, and they click over to a great website and they contact you, you have a much higher chance of closing that than if they've already got to lead somebody else somewhere else, and then Meta is retargeting them or Google is finding them. So being found in search is key. And so it's a big, important thing that I see changing or getting more difficult in 2025. One, because of more competition. Two, because of changes that Google makes and AI and lots of little apps and bots. But the good news is I see people thinking they can hack their way through this and not do the right thing. And so the companies that try to hack at it instead of really doing it the right way, they're not going to see the growth, because it's going to be the companies that do things the right way, that follow Google best practices and all of these best practices, that allow them to win. And some of that is a slow game. And you say, well, Matt, how do you know what works? Well, number 5 is measurable marketing is going to matter more in 2025 than ever. We know what works because we use tools to measure marketing. And so it took us a long time to figure this out, but sometimes people want to argue, about data. And I'm kind of a data nerd, and they're like, well, hey, it's not working. But some things are a slow game and take a little bit longer. Some things are instant. But the thing is, the data can't lie. And so for phone calls, we use an app called CallRail. We put it on your website, and you could go do this yourself. And basically, when people come over from Google ads or a Microsoft ad or a Yahoo ad or a Facebook ad or calling on your yard sign or whatever, we can see where those calls come from. So now we can see how every call comes into your business, where they come from. Very, very powerful. We also integrate that into a lot of our clients' CRM so they can activate it and then it goes right into their CRM. Pretty cool how it all works. What about for website visitors? Well, when they come over to your website, visitor comes over to your website, and we have a UTM tracking script. And what it does is it catches all of your data. So it says, hey, this guy came from a Google ad, and it stores it in a cookie. And then when they fill out a form and you get that lead via email or you go into your CRM, you can say, hey, we just got this lead from Google Local, and all that data is there. So we also add a couple other things where you can ask by phone, hey, how did you hear about us? There's a field for that. There's also that form on the website. It's interesting is that a lot of people who fill out a form on a website, they say, yeah, I came over from Google Map, but actually they clicked on an ad. They don't know what the difference is. So that's why we track that and allows us to figure out an ROI. You also need to set up key events in Google Analytics and in Google Ads. And then when you're done with all that, you've got to track everything to figure out the ROI. So there's a long game and then there's a short game. And so the long game would be for local. It would be for organic. It even would be for Google Ads, because Google Ads used to be more of a short game, but as changes unfold, it's more of a long game because the campaigns have to be optimized. And I think that's a big reason why they're given these big credits now, because it's expensive. I mean, businesses that spend $3,000 in the first couple of months, we're getting a lot of data, which is very helpful, but it's discouraging the number of leads that come in that first, month or so. And then as the campaign is optimized and does better, we're seeing, better and better results with that. So the short game might be, something like doing some Google Ads, but the long game, is going to be getting your citations built and the local search and improving spots in Google Maps. It's going to be the organic. And then you've got the short game. You got your ads running, maybe the LSA ads. But here's what you need to realize. Overall, when you measure ROI, you may spend, let's say you spend $10,000 on a big SEO campaign. That's content, links. That's pretty expensive for a business, a service business. I mean, seriously, but what if you got an extra 150 visits per month to your website from all of that keyword? I mean, all of those keywords. So you could see that could be like, if you make $5,000 on a deal, that could be 50 deals in the next year or two. And so the ROI for SEO is fantastic. The ROI for local is fantastic. It's a slower game than ads, but it's also a game that you need to invest in right away. So, and we can tell you that because we measure marketing. A couple of other things that I see changing in 2025 has to do with social media. And so social media for service business is not really a big deal. Like most service businesses got a couple hundred followers at the most. And, we'll post on them because it helps with local SEO and we do all of that. But a lot of times people want to talk about meta ads, and it's interesting. And if I go back a little bit, in my experience with marketing, I've probably spent, I would imagine, $500,000 in social media ads in my lifetime on Facebook. Some for, most for clients, most for just marketing that we've done through different channels. And so I know the Meta platform really, really well. I should point out, though, that in the last probably, it's probably been 18 months before we really spent a lot with a client. So we have clients that are running remarketing and things like that, but there's a new AI targeting and it's really good. And I think it's really, really interesting. So before you had to kind of pick targeting channels, you had to create an audience. And a lot of times, man, you couldn't find that audience because there wasn't a drop down for that. And so now there are new smart ads. You can also select an audience, but they can also read your ad and figure out what you're targeting, which is so much better. And so it's allowing opportunity for people, for service businesses that have high ticket items, for people who are in the market for them. So we see that as a change, and we actually have been testing that on a couple new projects that we're working on. One's for an old project, but it's testing on some new ads, and it's super exciting, the targeting that you can do. So I will say that in 2025, I do see opportunity in the social media space for intent ads. And you got to remember, if someone has an intent to do something, it's because they've already searched for it somewhere else. So you are going to be the second guy, and it may be a faster way to generate leads. It's going to be more competitive now than ever with some of these channels opening up, but there's also more people on social media now than ever. And so I will say we didn't push that very hard in 2024. And I think part of it was because of vision for healthy growth and the holistic approach and making sure we dominate search. And we've always used it for remarketing, but with some of the new AI changes with Meta, I do think it's going to be a better place for you to target people. So what we do, and obviously when you're advertising through pay-per-click, usually you want to drive people to like a squeeze page to generate the lead. This is best practice when you're, especially on like social media. And so like a great ad with a video and text, and then driving people to a quick landing page to generate the lead is going to be absolutely the best. And I want to encourage you, if you're not doing that, I do see that as an opportunity in 2025 for you because of the changes that are out in the last year or so with AI and targeting. Now, it's not for every industry. So depending on what service business, what your services or what your key products are, you may not be able to do that. But there are some that it will work fantastic for. So excited about that and as an opportunity. Lastly, what I see as being the future of businesses, I think referrals are going to be huge. So we've helped companies start off a lot of times with SEO and search and Google Ads and local and all of these things, but almost always we include a referral campaign. So we have a social referral campaign where, depending on the project and what they're doing, people can post a before and after and share it on social media. And if they do that, then they can get a, Amazon gift card or something like that. We also try to reward our clients when they give referrals. And so say someone fills out a form on your website and they say, hey, how did you hear about us? And they say, Susan referred me, Susan, whatever. Then you go out and you send Susan a referral, who gave you the referral, you send her a gift card. It will help you get so many more referrals. And when we close out a client, they get a welcome package. And I mean, one of your customers. So like maybe you finish a job and you close them out. Well, what it would be is it would be a little gift, maybe a mug, little lunchbox or something. Inside it would have business cards. It would have a thank you card with a QR code on it so that they can leave you a review, a brochure about other services, and maybe a quick note about your referral campaign that, hey, we appreciate referrals. Anytime you give us a referral, we'll send you X. And so referrals are huge. And what I'll tell you is when a company starts off in marketing, and they don't have a lot of customers yet, and their only new exposure is, let's say it's through Google local, it's through Google LSA, it's through all of these channels. They don't have a lot of customers. And so when I look at the lead log, it's like, okay, Google, internet search, Bing, okay, Facebook, okay, where did this come from? There's not a lot of referred by friends, but as you implement a referral campaign, and then that campaign matures over years, then you go back and you're like, referred by a friend, referred by a friend, referred by a friend. And you see the dramatic change by being a great company, but then telling people, hey, we appreciate your referrals. Word of mouth is huge because when someone is a referral, they're taking a friend's advice that you're a good company. And a lot of times they don't fight on price. And so if I could give you a summary of 2024 and what I see that occurred in the last year, the world isn't booming for service businesses like it was. And I do see more service businesses looking for marketing. And I think that is going to make it more competitive. There's going to be more noise. Again, in 2008, when I was brand new to owning an agency, everyone wanted to invest in marketing. They were throwing a Hail Mary. Like, why? Because the economy was slow. And so if the economy slows down anymore in 2025, I expect it to be even more competitive because you and all of your competitors are going to be looking to do marketing. And so you got to stand out. And so the time to innovate is sooner than later and to be ahead of the curve. And again, there's different part of a full marketing campaign. There is going to be short game and long game parts of your campaign. There's, strategies. And so usually for us, a good marketing, and I just say this, good marketing isn't fast. For us, we build out a website, which would include the CRM, which would include local SEO, which would be on-site SEO, off-site SEO. There's a lot that goes into it, connecting web forms, marketing automation, referral campaigns. And so you build out this mega campaign, and then you build that out. It's the long game. You're not going to see overnight success. So if you have zero marketing in place, it can take a little longer to see results. That short game, like the ads, that will generate leads faster, the local service ads and all of that. But all of it together is part of marketing best practices. And if you measure everything and you do it the right way, you are going to see great results. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, Matt, I got so much to do. I want to encourage you that you can take a step at a time. And we've got some cool resources on our website that's got all of the software that we use. So you could go and check that out. You can also get our blueprint book, which will walk you through the 4 steps we use to grow businesses. We share all of this freely and openly and tell everyone what we're doing. It's right out there for everyone to see. The reason is it's really hard and takes a lot of work and time to do good marketing. And so we share with you the blueprint and the plan. And then if we end up being a good fit and you want to hire us to do it, then we can talk about that. So I don't want you to be discouraged, number one, but I would say be active and be proactive really to do marketing this year. Share a couple common questions that I've received in 2024 about marketing. Hey, Matt, will AI eventually take over all marketing? I don't think it's gonna. I think it's going to make it more accessible. I do think it is going to make it more competitive. I do think that it's going to make it more noisy. But if AI is doing everything, then it's all going to be the same. So I do think it's going to play a huge role, though. I also think that you should be leveraging it. We did a training on ChatGPT. It is fantastic and will save you a lot of time for editing emails, lots of different things. So we leverage it for our clients, and it's reflected in our pricing and allows us to do a lot more for less. Another question I got was about Google's antitrust lawsuit. So if you read that this summer, all I can tell you is that Google has been stealing from businesses forever, since 2002. I have seen them do terrible things to business owners through SEO, through organic, through local. And I am a big hopeful person that ChatGPT will knock them off. It may not be ChatGPT, but there will be someone eventually. And so I just will tell you that I think there's going to be opportunity. So I encourage businesses to look at all the options. So whenever we see something working, whether it's through something a client's telling us or it's through something we observe ourselves, we note it and we build it into our marketing strategies and our marketing packages. And so Jeff, who's a co-founder with me, we meet often and we talk about what's working. We look at all of our client data, and I do see some changes ahead. Does that mean Google's going to go away this year? Nope, probably not for the next, multiple years. But who knows? It really just depends on the user interface, the trust, all of that. and what people think of that. So last question, Matt, I own a service business. What should I do? And a lot of times I get emails like this from people who are just, they're not ready. They don't have any cash flow to invest in marketing. My suggestion is to keep learning and growing. The fact that you're listening to this podcast is awesome. Like, it speaks volumes. I would go through all of our podcasts, keep learning, keep reading, download our book, figure out your unique selling points, and maybe work on getting a little bit better website. You can get set up with Bright Local for a few $100 and get some citations built. That's a good start. There's a lot of things like that would be very, very helpful for you to do. We share where we build links from, all of that inside of our free resources at www.grow.inc. So just encourage you to check those out. If you have any questions as well, and you're like, hey, Matt, I'm learning, but I need to pick your brain about something. Also want to remind you can send us an email at questions@gro.inc, questions@grow.inc, and I'll be happy to respond to those. So 2025, what's it going to be like? There's a lot of questions in the air. What's the economy going to do? What's housing going to do? What's service business going to be like? Only thing I would say is that if you do the same thing, it's like Albert Einstein. It's insanity to expect a different result and do the same thing. So I hope that in 2025, you are challenging the process. You're thinking about different ideas. You're innovating, you're working on your unique selling points, and you're engaging the marketing channels that are out there. That said, thank you so much for listening. Matt Law signing off. Have an amazing day.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.